can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, I'm going to be talking about Batman number 135 by Chip Zdarsky, Mike Hawthorne, Jorge Jimenez, Michael Janin, and Adriano De Benedetto. I kind of stopped talking about Batman for a little bit just because after the failsafe arc and Batman becoming lost in the multiverse, there was really a lot going on that I wanted to take more time to absorb. And now that I have, and we've gotten this issue of 135, I feel like I'm more comfortable talking about what's going on here. When last I left off with Batman, failsafe had sent him reeling into the multiverse and sent him to a world that was, for all intents and purposes, an upside down or topsy-turvy version of Gotham. While some things definitely were the same, there were some other things that weren't. On this Earth, vigilantism is heavily outlawed, and Batman, Bruce Wayne, on this Earth is dead. In his place is someone with a very similar bend, someone by the name of Red Mask. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because it's technically a play on the name Red Hood, only it's not Jason Todd under the mask. It's a man by the name of Darwin Halliday. Halliday is a gifted chemist who one day discovered through a chemical concoction a doorway into the multiverse. This Halliday guy is pretty much a more fascist rendition of Bruce Wayne. Pretty much everything that Bruce has in the Prime Earth universe, Halliday kind of seems to be on the same level, albeit he has a bend towards being a more maniacal character. He dresses up in a fancy costume to do his dastardly deeds, but at the end of the day, he's nothing like Batman when it comes to morality. And the reason why is because Halliday is trying to become the Joker. The chemical compound that Halliday discovered was, for all intents and purposes, Joker toxin. Now, granted, this version of the Joker toxin that Halliday created in his universe doesn't actually make people laugh uncontrollably until they die. It gives them insight into the multiverse, specifically into their multiversal variants. So Halliday, when he uses this chemical compound, he is able to see through the eyes of anyone who would be his variant in another universe. And every single universe that he's looked through, all he sees is through the eyes of the Joker. So he's trying to use all of this information, knowing that one day he could or should become the Joker. He wants to figure out exactly what it was that happened that allowed each and every one of these Jokers to become exactly that. And he won't stop until he gets it. He wants to transcend his, what he perceives as a normal, mundane person. He knows that he is destined for greatness, and what greatness looks like to him is the Joker. And it's revealed something pretty interesting about the Joker that actually makes sense when you think about all the different versions of Joker that we have seen across not just comics, but in other media. Halliday has unlocked the truth about who and what the Joker really is. The Joker is not just one person. And before the three Jokers theory starts coming out of the woodwork, let me stop you right there. What I mean by that is, it's not that there are multiple Jokers that exist throughout the world, it's that there are different Jokers that exist throughout the multiverse, and Halliday is able to see through each and every one of their eyes. We see over the course of this issue that the DCAU version of Joker, the very same Joker that was played by Mark Hamill in Batman TAS, that Joker is very different from the Joker that we typically see in the comics, at least in terms of origin, because the origin of the Joker in the comics has always been very inconsistent. The Jack Napier of the Batman '89 movie, he's a very different version of Joker than what we are used to seeing. They all kind of do roughly the same thing, but they operate in completely different circles. We also know that Martha Wayne from the Flashpoint universe, she is Joker in that realm, but she's not connected in any way, at least in any meaningful way, to any of the other Jokers, and the list just goes on and on and on, even going all the way over to the Batman Beyond Joker and the Batman 66 version of Joker played by Cesar Romero. None of these Jokers really share anything in common other than look and ultimately what they aim to do. The Joker is not just one person, it's just a force of nature that flows through the multiverse, and Halliday is trying to unlock it because he realizes now that is who he is destined destined to become. Now, because of all these multiverse shenanigans, Batman is only getting entangled in this mess with Red Mask because his ability to travel the multiverse and see through the eyes of the other Jokers in the multiverse is Batman's way of getting back home. It's funny to me because I feel like what people expected Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to be about, this was basically what people probably had in their heads. Batman falls through the multiverse in issue number 135, and he meets pretty much every version of Batman that you could think of. He meets the versions of Batman from The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. He encounters the Silver Age Batman, as well as the Batman from Gotham by Gaslight. Even interacts briefly with the Joker from Earth 43, where Batman is a vampire. We also see at various points the version of Batman from Kingdom Come. And what I think is even more crazy is what this means for the Batman who exist outside of comics media. This issue basically proves that all of the different Batmen, regardless of where they exist in the comics, which we already know those are canon, at least in their own multiverses, but it also means that the Batmen who exist in things like TV shows, video games, and movies, those Batmen are canon to the DC Comics multiverse. We are introduced to Batman 89, the same Batman portrayed by Michael Keaton, who is about to be in the upcoming The Flash movie and is pretty much the only reason anyone's going to go see it. We are also reintroduced to the Batman from Batman the Animated Series, as well as both the Bruce Wayne and Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. We also see very brief glimpses of the Christian Bale iteration of Batman. We even see the Batman of the Arkham Asylum games in this, and I think the one that is probably gonna throw a lot of people for a loop is that we also see the Batman from 66, who was played by Adam West. There are various and sundry different versions of Batman that appear in this issue, each and every one of them canon, and each and every one of them giving our Batman, our Earth Prime Batman, just a glimpse into what it is that makes them Batman and what makes all of their different worlds unique. Each giving him a taste of what is necessary to stop this Halliday, who is not only going back through the multiverse and you've seen through the eyes of these different Jokers, but in a roundabout way, becoming each and every one of them, and even in one case, bringing back a Joker. There's even shown when Batman is introduced to the Batman of 89, and in that universe where we all know Jack Napier fell to his death at the end of the first Batman movie by Tim Burton, that Joker is back, even referred to as Jack Napier. And when we see the red glowy eyes that he's sporting in this news broadcast, that's the way of letting us know that Halliday is in there. But one of the things that is very unique about each and every one of these Batmen, with the exception of a couple, is that most of them have killed their Joker in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, ultimately, Batman does defeat Halliday. Granted, it's also with the help of a very timely canister of bat shark repellent that he picks up off of the Adam West version of Batman, but that's neither really here nor there. We don't really know what's going to happen with Halliday because, as Batman says at the end of this issue, he can't leave him in this universe to die, or even worse, recover and create even more havoc in the multiverse, and he can't necessarily take him home because the method of travel that he has, the Holt disc that he's going to use to travel back to his universe, it's only going to work one time. So he has to make a choice. Does he send this guy back to his universe and stay stuck in the universe that he's in currently, or does he leave him and go on his way? And ultimately, I think what's going to probably wind up happening is that Halliday isn't going anywhere, largely because Tim Drake Robin shows up after his efforts of working with Mr. Terrific and the Toyman end up panning out, and they're able to track down Batman and pluck him back from out of the multiverse. It's safe to say that maybe Batman might take Halliday with him. That's not something I'm really ready to talk about. What I will definitely talk about, though, is what are the implications of all these Batmen existing in the DC Comics canon now, and they do technically even exist inside of James Gunn's DC universe now, because as James Gunn said, that with everything going on with their movies and TV shows, there's going to be greater connection between not just their movies and TV shows and even their video games, but also with the comics that are running currently. And if that is the case, this kind of opens everything up to a lot of weird and wacky shenanigans. But the thing that is even more important about this is that while all of these Batmen are now canon in the DC Comics multiverse now, this is actually not good news for the Earth Prime Batman. It's actually bad news, because remember when we were talking about failsafe in all those Batman videos ago, one of the things that came up was the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. And while the original version of Batman of Zur-En-Arrh and all the other stuff, I don't really want to go all the way back through that. There's a video I'll try to remember to link up here. You can go check it out and learn all about that. The trick here is that Zur, while it did seem like he had subsided into the back of Batman's conscious, that Bruce had taken back control from the alternate personality that he set up within himself as his own personal failsafe in his own mind, that Batman didn't just go away. That Batman has been there the whole time and now seems to be functioning on the same level as a virus of some sort. Not only is he still hiding in the recesses of Batman's mind, it's heavily implied that Batman's trips and jaunts through the multiverse spread Zur to all those other Batmen. It's either that, or at some point in time, each of those Batmen did the same thing that the Earth Prime Batman did, creating that personality and then deleting it from their own memory, so that way they have no knowledge that it even existed. I don't think that's the case. I think it's actually safer to say that Zur is infecting all these other Batmen. We see here that each and every Batman that Bruce met over the course of his trip into the multiverse of madness, or rather the multiverse of Batness, each of those Batmen now have a version of themselves that's a Zur. We see the original classic Batman of Zur-En-Arrh from Batman number 113 from back in 1958. We also see a version of Batman of Zur-En-Arrh who is the Batman from Batman TAS. We see the Christian Bale Batman as Zur. We see Gotham by Gaslight Batman as Zur. We also see the Dark Knight version of Zur, as well as the Adam West version. We see Zur himself, who we've been keeping up with since Chip Zdarsky took over writing duties on Batman. We also see the vampire version of Batman as a Zur, as well as the Michael Keaton version of Batman as Zur, and even the newer, more recent version that we've been seeing in all the little side stories about Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. All of that is there, and this is becoming pretty much what I've kind of been thinking it was going to become, that this is becoming a war between Batman and himself, that Zur is planning to unleash all these other versions of himself and get the Prime Earth Batman out of the way so they can get done. But anyways, that's everything I really want to talk about with Batman number 135. This story was pretty wild. Not my favorite thing by Chip Zdarsky, but this issue definitely brought me back into it. I was like, okay, cool. We're getting back to it. Once we got Zur back in the, the saddle again, I was like, okay, yes, Batman becoming more and more and more like Moon Knight is exactly the thing that I was reading this book for. Seeing Batman fall into the same personality disorders that Moon Knight has, having these different versions of himself in his mind, which once again, this opens up the implication. Is it that these other Batmen in the multiverse are infected, or is Zur bringing the different personalities of these Batmen back into the Earth Prime universe as a part of Bruce's psyche? Is that going to be something that we end up seeing? I don't really know. I can't say. Chip Zdarsky is just getting buck wild with the story arc, and I'm 100% here for it. I don't know if we'll see any other versions of Batman that pop up. Like, I was actually kind of disappointed that we didn't see the Val Kilmer or George Clooney versions of Batman, mostly just because I think it would have been funny to see, and even more so that we didn't get Robert Pattinson or Batfleck. We didn't get either of those. I would love to see those versions as Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. That would be amazing. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure to tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos I put out. Until next time, let me know what you thought about Batman number 135. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.